Hi all my friends. I want to start the video that's going to show the solar on the roof of the van first, okay? So keep in mind I have 400 watts, so I have three 100-watt panels in the back and 100-watt panel in the front, okay? So that's what it looks like from this perspective from the ground. And then also remember I had the max air fan switch or added in, switched out from the old original fan. So what I'm going to show next is a clip that they did for me at AM Solar. So the guy was really tall, very nice, you know, of him to be able to do this for me and get up with the selfie stick and show a top view of what the solar looks like on the roof. Okay, so I'm going to show that clip next so you get a kind of like an aerial view. The best thing we could do for you guys. All right, so I'll show that one next.
I think further back is probably better.
Okay, so this is like maybe several weeks since the first video clips that I have been trying to put together for my solar, but I definitely want to finish this up for you all to see my solar. Now, when I showed the aerial one, when I picked up the van, if you notice that there's this adhesive that's holding the legs of the framing of the panels, that is an adhesive bonding that they do there that does not require any screws to go inside the roof of the van. And I learned about that from Explorer Steve. So if you haven't checked out his channel, definitely do that, because I learned a lot of things from when he put his solar system on and together. I learned a lot from him, kind of how I wanted to do this van. Okay, so I learned about that, and I got my solar from the same place that he did. The only difference is he installed it himself, and I had the place where he got his solar system to install mine, because it happens to be AM Solar, which is in Springfield, Oregon, as I mentioned in an earlier clip on my way as I was pulling in. That was in the part one, that it was AM Solar. So it's in Springfield, Oregon, and they are amazing. Okay, so what they do when you actually go down there is they take a look at your needs and they fit the right system to adapt to your needs, what you need, and also to the vehicle, that whatever they could do, if they could put the right amount of solar or panels, because there is a formula in ratio to your batteries and battery capacity and type of batteries. So that all is in consideration. Okay, so that was one of the things I learned from his channel. I definitely said that's what I want. So that's what they did, is that bonding that you'll notice if you look at that part with the aerial. So that was pretty cool. Okay, another thing that I learned from Explorer Steve was how he ran his wiring. And so they were originally going to go through the microwave. They were going to take this out and do a bunch of stuff to go on this side, where I have all my 12-volt wiring that was added in for my 12-volt, and I didn't like that idea. So they were so kind enough to be patient with me and to do a request, which was, can you watch Explorer Steve's video where he installed his, because I did not want them to do that because they did not know how to change this part out for me, and I was trying to do that, and I said, well, Explorer Steve did that, and is there a way you could watch this so we could just take the old one out and put the new one in? Okay, and how he did his wiring, and he came down through the roof, I told them, and then kind of ran his wiring through, and I said, is there any way we could do something similar? So they were kind enough to watch his video and then come back with the best fit and idea that they could do similar. So what they decided to do was come down through this cabinet, and I don't know if you could see, but there's the wiring that they did from the solar to go down through the pantry. So it's a little different than how he did his. And then what they did is they went down through the compartment that's underneath my furnace. And I'll show you that part next. Okay, so what they did is they put the solar controller right here, and then my other off switch that shuts down the solar from the roof. If I was never going to be using the vehicle for a long period of time, then everything would have to be shut down. And there's one of my second switches that I would shut. That shuts the solar down to here. And then I have another switch that'll show you in another clip that's at my battery system that shuts it from this point to the battery. Okay. So this is a cool little area that they were able to put everything under this little compartment, which is really cool. And so here's the door, and it's just right underneath my furnace. And then another thing they did is they actually ran it from that point, and it goes somewhere, I don't know how they did it, but I think it goes somewhere underneath this cabinet because they had all this stuff pulled out. And then to get to my batteries, because my battery compartment is down underneath here, and I will show you that next. Okay, and one thing to keep in mind is that my batteries are 230 amps, so that's 115 usable amps, and I kept them because I would have 15 more amps. Usable amps is one of also a reason of keeping my wet cell batteries. Okay, and they're also forgiving if I was to go below the 50% with the wet cell batteries, where the other type are not as forgiving if that was to happen, and to save my costs. Okay, so now we're going to look at the batteries. Okay, so this is the battery compartment now and how it looks like. So they actually ran, this is the line, the 15 amp DC outlet fuse. They're letting me know this is the fuse that goes to the where the refrigerator connection is, the plug and the 12-volt system that they put in. So this is just a amp setup in case it blows a fuse. I've got that for that outlet. So we've got that going on here because remember the 12-volt refrigerator is being connected to this, and so I have to re-listen to a lot of the video that I have from them to really memorize everything that they were saying of all of the connections because I forgot what this guy here was about, but I will go back and listen to that. But I think it has something to do with being connected to my monitor up there. And of course things are going back to the back where I'm going to show you where the controller thing is at, and I think that's what this line is going through here, because this here is what I would shut off if I need to shut down the solar for a reason. There's two connections that I would shut down, so this is one of them that I would just flip that lever over, but not to do that unless I'm going to shut down the solar, like for any reason that I wasn't using the vehicle, it wasn't going to be having the solar connection or using the solar connection, then I would hit that switch, one of my shutoffs. Okay, now I just tried to put water in these things, or just to check, and actually it's still holding water very well, actually, since I left the AM solar, so I'm so happy about that. But I noticed with all these cords, like this one is very tight, the way it's connected, and this one here, so this side was a little bit more of a challenge to pop these off to try to check my water. So this side was a little easier. So anyways, I did do it, so it's capable of being done. It's just very tight and a little bit harder to pull up these cords. So I don't think they kind of kept that in consideration, that I need to be able to, they knew I needed to check the water, but why not give me a little bit more room in there? So I don't know, but I managed to do it. Okay, so this is the new battery setup and the way it looks, and my shutoffs and stuff like that. Okay, so now I have the monitor system, and what they've done for me is, because I had to keep the wet cell batteries, because one, they were in great condition, and I was trying to keep the cost down, because I wanted to put the cost in more of my fan. I replaced the original fan that was in here, and then I'm gonna have to do another video because of time, and I'll do on the other side of the Dometic, the wiring that they did on the other side, and then the fan in a part 3. Okay, but as far as the solar part, I want to finish that up with this video. And so what they did is they gave me a cool monitor system to match keeping my wet cell batteries. And I'll do a separate video on the performance of this in relation to the wet cell, because what it does is it's designed to equalize my batteries for me, my wet cell batteries. And so in the future video, I'll explain equalizing, why equalizing, but main thing, just a short version, is it makes your batteries last longer, your wet cells. It keeps the performance higher and lasting longer of the charge system of them. So it is designed to do that manually. I just come up here and I flip through it. So the next time I equalize, which will be at the end of January, I'll try to film that so you can see the process of it, and I'll explain more in detail why to equalize the batteries. So it does it all for me, and it does it from the solar through the monitor, and it will shut it off for me, and so it's just great. All I have to do is just start it. So that's a cool feature that they did for me. And the one thing is that all I have to do is come here, and it tells me exactly where my battery capacity is, which is at 100%. So that's the number that I mostly come to watch. Is it at 70%, 80%? Where is my performance there? I don't look so much as far as my input and output, because I'm not an energy hog at this point. And I also need to learn more of that part of my system. Okay, but since I haven't been an energy hog, really, this is just the number. It's a simple number. Where am I at? And when I wake up, if I'm like 80%, then I'm like, okay, I need to get back up to 100%. And am I going to have enough sun to do that? So it's been a sweet little system for me, and I just love it. Okay, so that's the solar part of this. And then I will, like I said, have a future video that will show the other side of this, that the wiring that they did for me. It's just really cool I just couldn't be happier. I really am so happy and pleased with everything and the performance of everything that they did for me. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed my solar system and what was done for me. And I will look forward to seeing you all in the next video. And I love you all very much.